All right, MMA fans, gorgeous Georgian goes delivering on yet another superstar in the sport of mixed martial arts. Let me take you through all of his glory here as a former WEC bantamweight contender, a former UFC flyweight champion, and of course now a one championship bantamweight Grand Prix champ and bantamweight contender, Demetrious Johnson. What's up, Mighty Mouse? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me. And since we're recording, you want to do it again. It was a flyweight champion and flyweight world Grand Prix champion and flyweight thinner, even though it's 135.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. You know what threw me off, DJ, was when I was on Tapology, I wanted to get all that straight. And I swear, because I admit my mistakes, they have it written down that you're going to be challenging Adriano Moraes for the bantamweight, and I was like, but I knew that you guys weigh in differently and everything. So then I went and looked at it, and you're right, you are the flyweight Grand Prix champion, and everywhere else I see it, you're going to be challenging for the flyweight title because your homie, Bibiano's the bantamweight champ.
That's
so
correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
You did see that, but honestly, if you go to Tapology, you'll see what I'm talking about. Threw me off, so my bad on that.
It's all good, baby.
Listen. First, I got to ask you, you're wearing like AirPods, right? Is there a section for normal people and people with jacked up ears like you wrestlers for the iPods, or do they slide in nicely?
They slide in nicely. My ears are pretty jacked. I mean, this one's about to fall. Oh, this one's about to fall out. So I have to keep on adjusting them. When I bought them to begin with, I fixed the sizes, and I got to find the box again and put a different size in. But they work pretty well. I like them.
I know for wrestlers, the cauliflower ears are kind of a little bit of a badge of honor. A little bit, the boxers, same with certain scars. At what age do you kind of get over that and go, man, I wish I had normal ears?
Never, because I forgot what normal ears feel like. I don't even know what normal. I don't even know what normal is anymore. Even with, body or my shoulders, normal is not existent in my life right now.
Are those some of your most serious injuries? Is the shoulders, or what kind of hurts when you get out of bed? I guess.
You know what? Lately, I've been feeling pretty good. It depends after I get done working out. I've been putting a lot of miles on the road. Like I think, yeah. What was Sunday? We ran 6 miles. The day before that, we ran 6. So that's 12 miles. And the day before that, we ran 5. So we're talking a lot of miles. So it's on the hips and knees and the shins. But now that I haven't worked out, actually, I rode my bike yesterday. I feel pretty good. Today I woke up feeling real good.
But it's all worth it? All these years of combat?
Oh, hell yeah, it's worth it. Well, I mean, the kids are happy. I'm happy. Wife's happy. Been able to do a lot of amazing things, be able to travel, meet a lot of amazing people. And we still got a lot more left to go.
A lot of professional football quarterbacks, they'll say the same thing you just said. I'm pretty sure every athlete will say the same thing you said. But a lot of them, man, they say it literally takes 20, 30 minutes getting out of bed in those later years, especially on a Monday after a Sunday game, just because there's this whole process of just stretching and, getting right. You know what I mean? But they say the same thing. It's worth it.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Obviously, those guys are in a different sport. They're taking way more hits than I am at a different velocity over and over and over again, different size of a man. Typically, the only person going to be hitting me is a person who's about the same size as me, maybe 10, 20 pounds more than I am. And then I only compete twice or 3 times a year. Granted, it's the training that puts the miles on the body. But for the most part, I live a clean, healthy lifestyle. I don't really, put any bad substance in my body. And, I feel if I stay like this, don't get any concussions or get knocked out, I've got another, 4 or 5 years left in me.
Have you ever been to a Seahawks practice by any chance and been able to watch all that up close? Just, out of your fame and popularity, have you ever had that opportunity?
I've had it one time, but now they've even restructured the practice for NFL. They don't, hit each other. They just wear a helmet. They don't really have any contact because they know they're going to get that contact on Sunday when they play the game. So they're trying to eliminate the chances that the athlete can get concussions during practice. Because you imagine if every single day when a professional football team would practice and they would pad up and hit each other over and over and over again, and then go to the football game and then they get hit again, I think the NFL athlete's career would be even shorter.
Yeah, when I think of the state of Washington or Seattle and the top athletes. Obviously, in the '90s, the Mariners had a nice run. At one point, you guys had the Sonics. But right now, all I can think about is DJ and that damn Russell Wilson, because I'm a 49ers fan, and Russell Wilson breaks my heart a few times per year. You ever gotten to know him? You guys are very, very similar. You guys are guys that aren't, some of the bigger fellas in your sport, but look how awesome you both have been.
That's hilarious that you brought that up. Russell Wilson, he breaks your heart 4 times. I hope I don't break your heart anytime when I'm competing. I hope you're always rooting for your boy. But yeah, I think we're both the same stature in our own sports. I think for flyweight, I'm on the smaller end of it. I typically walk around like 138 to 139, so I'm going to cut like 4 pounds. So I think a lot of the guys, even though there is no weight cutting in one championship, there are a lot of guys who still diet down to get down to that 135 pound limit mark. So and Russell Wilson, he's not the tallest quarterback. He's been able to do very well with the tools he's been given.
You did break my heart one time. I'm going to admit it to you. When you fought Joseph Benavidez the second time, I don't become best friends with any of you guys. I just respect you all, and obviously we see each other in passing, so it's always cool. But I thought for some reason a trilogy match would be nice between you guys as that division was unfolding. I think this was like 2013 or something like that.
Yep.
And it was one of the few road trips that I made. It was in Sacramento. And so on that one, I just thought, I thought Joseph was going to win. And, it was set up nicely in Sacramento and everything. And I always tell people this, that there's 2 types of noises. Obviously, there's the roar of the crowd, but there's this vacuum when not necessarily an upset, because I think you may have been the favorite the second time, but just something that's unexpected happens. And when you did it, everybody gasped at the same time in the arena, because it was a pretty vicious KO. And then all of a sudden, of course, the roar for the people that support Demetrious Johnson or the people that can appreciate the KO, that follows. And that's something that, as a fan, when you experience that, man, I'm like shaking a little bit, because I'm looking at Joseph and he was out, and obviously I just confessed to you, I was hoping he'd win that. But you're doing that mighty flip on the other side, and it's a vision like I'll never forget. Again, I'm always happy for both of you to just get out of that cage and just get back to the locker room and get paid well and go on to your next competition. But for that one moment, like, wow, it's an image I'll never forget. It's a feeling I'll never forget. That's the only time, man. Other than that, I've been Team DJ.
Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Joseph Benavidez. Love the guy. I wish him nothing but the best in his career. And that was a special night. I remember out to the octagon that night, and Matt said, "You're going to shock the world tonight. You're going to shock the world." And I remember he said, "Calm down, settle down." And then that's when I just, went for the kill shot. But I'm happy he was able to get up and continue to make money in his career.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, let's talk a little bit about, you were going to fight on April 10th before this pandemic swept the world against Adrian Moraes. Obviously, that didn't happen. I'm sure you're okay with it not happening. I mean, this thing flipped the world upside down. But what's the time look like now? When do you guys think it's going to get going? Have they set a date? I was really looking under the events page, but I didn't see anything definitive.
Obviously right now with the world flipped on its head with the whole pandemic, there is no time frame like laid out to be able to get back into the ring or the cage to face Adrian Moraes for the belt. So right now it's just taking it day by day, doing homeschooling for the kids and hanging out with the wife and kids and doing my best to stay healthy. And there is no there is no training in Washington State. All the gyms are closed. If any gym is found open, and they will get a fine. I think the fine's like $10,000 last time I checked. Could be up to $25,000. So Washington State is taking this very seriously, which I think every state should. If your governor has said you guys can start opening up, go ahead. But for Washington State, we are all closed down. YMCA is closed. AMC Big Rig is closed. So only training I've been able to get is me just running, doing pull-ups, push-ups, riding my Peloton bike, and that's about it.
All right. That was interesting to hear, and I'll tell you why, for many reasons. Because obviously some events took place this past Saturday. One's going to happen tomorrow. One's going to happen the next Saturday. And I've heard of people going in and kind of like with their own little secret groups, they're doing training and things like that. So when Stipe Miocic was saying, I can't even get into my gym and start a camp, part of me was like, it looks like everyone else is doing it. But now you're saying your state is very strict and they got severe fines. That's a whole different story. I wonder if maybe he's like that and we're not paying him the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, I think at the beginning of this, you got to look at Stipe. He is a firefighter. That is his first job. He probably gets paid more money being a firefighter than he does as a professional mixed martial artist. I don't know his pay, but he could be a firefighter till, I mean, my mother-in-law's husband, well, boyfriend, just retired, and he's 65, I think, 65. I'll tell you what, Steve ain't gonna be fine till he's 65. I'll tell you that right now. Right now he's serving his duty as a firefighter. That's what's important to him, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to help out the people who are being affected by COVID-19, and he was very clearly upfront about that. And everybody's like, "Oh, you can't be doing that. You're the champion." He wants to be a firefighter. If the UFC wants to pass over him and give somebody else the belt, then do it. That's fine. And I think that might be Stipe's situation, that all the gyms in his area are closed. Like I'm telling you, Washington State is closed. Like one of my training regimen is swimming. There are no pools open in Washington State. I'm sure. I mean, I don't have pool like Floyd Mayweather and go to the YMCA and say, "Hey, I need to swim for my training camp. Can I swim?" Like, no, we're closed. Take your ass home.
Demetrious, you brought up the fact that you said you have 4 or 5 more years in you. What are your goals for those 4 or 5 years? And did the pandemic change that amount? Like, did you go more because of the pandemic? Did it stay the same? How did all that work out for you?
I think at the end of the day, I give myself 4 to 5 more years, and that's all predicated on my body and how I feel. If I'm still having fun, if I join the sport, where my kids are going to be at, like where they're going to be at in their sports. And obviously with the pandemic, the only thing it showed me is that, I love competing, and I love my training partners, and I love training, right? But if I were to never fight again and get bumps and bruises and tear my rotator cuff, my labrum, or anything like that, I wouldn't miss it. You know what I mean? So I think the only thing that COVID-19, this whole quarantine time, showed me is that once I'm able to walk, once I'm ready to retire, I'm gonna be just fine. Like, man, I need to keep on fighting to get one more of me. I got. When I'm ready to retire, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Peace. I'm out. I ain't coming back. Don't worry about me. I'm done.
I want to talk a little bit about motivation. I've always been fascinated with your motivation because when you're really good at something for so long, it's kind of hard to get up and just be motivated because you're that much better than everyone else. And I've always wondered this about you. You wear a lot of different hats. I noticed that when you're a dad, you love it. When you play video games, you're entrenched in that and you love doing that. And the same thing for fighting. Do you just wear one Demetrious Johnson hat that covers everything? Or do you flip those hats? In other words, when you're the video game guy, does fighting even cross into your mind at all? When you're a dad, does video games do they ever cross over? Or is it just one?
I think you hit it. I think you hit it right on the head, man. I mean, this whole entire time during this whole quarantine time, I have not thought about fighting. I haven't thrown a punch. I haven't kicked anything. I haven't wrestled. I haven't grappled any. I haven't grappled, and it's been 9 weeks, and I'm okay with it because it's not something I can do right now. Right now, I'm focused on being a father. I'm focused on the kids doing their homeschooling and keeping them on a strict schedule. Like that's the hat I'm wearing right now, which is keeping them on a strict schedule. And then when it's time to play video games, when I stream on Twitch, everybody's, "Man, what'd you think about the fights?" I'm like, I ain't worried about no goddamn fights. I'm worried about lighting this person up and getting this loot. Now, if you want to sit here and watch me do it, sit down, relax. If you don't, take your ass to MMA, Reddit MMA, and you can talk to all those guys. So I do switch hats. And then when it's time for me to compete and get ready to train, I'm 110% focused on training. And then once I leave the gym, it's husband, dad mode. And then when it's game time, it's game time. I think for me, I've always done it that way. And ever since I worked at 15 and a half years old, working at Parkland Putter, sweeping the golf courses, those 6 hours, I'll just sweep the course, go home, chill, hang out with the friends, run out street racing. I got the 95 Honda Civic hatchback. We about to win this race. I lost most of my races because my car wasn't fast. But, I do switch hats, and that's why I think it keeps me focused and motivated. It's like, okay, right now it's time to teach my kids how to, today the lesson plan was how to tell time, how to read a clock. I mean, my wife got this clock on the wall, and that's what we're focused on today, and money and math and reading.
I didn't know we were going to have you on until yesterday, but I had thought about you over the weekend because
That's nice.
we were watching UFC 249, and we were talking about Tony Ferguson. He hadn't lost in a very long time. And I used you as an example, as somebody who went through something very similar where you hadn't lost in a very long time. You have the same mindset for so many years. And then one day you wake up, and it depends on the individual, whether how MMA defines them, right? And I wanted to know, after a loss, did you wake up and feel like a different person? And the second part of that question is, if you had any advice for a guy like Tony Ferguson, what would you tell him?
Well, first off, Tony Ferguson displayed a lot of hard, honor, and tough and Saturday night against Justin Gaethje. And Justin Gaethje, he's amazing as well. He hit Tony a lot of big bombs, and I told people that fight is going to be amazing. And I think Tony, he's already in the right mindset. I see him dancing in the hospital. He's ready to get home, get back to training, and the one thing that I always do is never let my wins or losses define who I am as a person or my career. And I told Dominic Cruz, I sent him a message afterwards, and I was like, dude, you're still one of the best to ever do it. Don't worry about it. Losses happen. Like, if anybody goes through their career thinking they're never going to lose, I got some bad news for you. You're going to lose. Even Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he knows it. Everybody can be beaten, right? Now, if Khabib Nurmagomedov were to retire today, he would have gone through his mixed martial arts career, never lost. But he's not retiring. He's still going to go out there and fight. So when he fights Justin Gaethje, there is a potential of him losing. So I think if athletes have that mindset that as long as they don't let their wins or losses dictate who they are or how their career is defined, then they'll be fine. That's my personal opinion. Let the fans, the media, other people dictate how they feel about your career. I feel, as of right now, my career has been great. It's been phenomenal. A lot of people might be like, oh, your career's been garbage. You never fought nobody who was good. Oh, blah, blah, blah. That's all noise. As long as you're comfortable with what you've done in your career, that's all that matters. And let the rest speak for itself. So I think Tony, he's got a great mindset. He's dancing in the hospital. He's going to get back home. I think he should take about maybe 6 and 9 months before competing again. Just give his brain some time off. He did 2 weight cuts. Just relax. Let that brain relax, heal, and chill. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, I was thrown off there for a second. I wanted to, now I forgot the hell what my question was. Oh, yeah, Henry Cejudo retired, dude. Like, what did you think when you either saw it live or heard about it? Like, I caught a lot of people off guard. Share your thoughts on that one.
I think, if Henry Cejudo retires, I think if he retires, I think he's had a phenomenal mixed martial arts career. I understand what he means by going on top, and he doesn't want nobody to take that away from him. Because if somebody comes and beats him, then everyone look back at his career and said, oh, he didn't do anything, nothing great. But that's only if he allows people to take that away from him. That makes sense. And if he does, I mean, only time will tell if he really is retiring, right? It could be a money ploy. It could be a tactic for renegotiating. But if he retires, he retires. If he doesn't, I mean, he's still young. He's 33 years old. I do understand he's been doing this for a very long time. Shit, hell, I've been working since 15 and a half. I've been married. I'm raising 3 kids while I was raising 2 kids and I defended my title 11 times. So it is a lot of work, but I think you can do it. You can have that balance in life. I think it's important to have that balance in life because training for fights, it does get stagnant. It does get, boring. Like, all right, we got another fight. Let's go train. Let's do this. But that's why I love having my family involved in this because it breaks up that monotony of going to the gym every single day. That's my personal opinion. But if he retires, he retires. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
Did you happen to catch what he said at the post-fight press conference? He had really, really kind words for you. He said one thing that he wanted to accomplish was beat the greatest flyweight of all time, beat the greatest bantamweight of all time, which would be Cruz. And then he really wanted the Aldo fight because he wanted to be able to say if he beat him, he beat the featherweight, the greatest featherweight of all time. But along the way, towards the very end, when he was asked about a little bit more about that win over you. He said, this is his quote: "I'll take that razor-thin victory because Demetrious Johnson is a very special athlete, a very special mixed martial artist. And if you were to ask Triple C, him talking in third person, he says, who was the greatest mixed martial artist of all time? It's Demetrious Johnson." Yeah, it was, for me, I'm a sports guy, and those moments are really, really cool. We're trying to figure out if he's really retired and all that, and then he's just pouring that out. You can tell that comes from the heart, a lot of respect. But I thought that was awesome. And before you comment on that, about 3 weeks ago, we had DC on the show, and we were talking about The Last Dance, Michael Jordan. I think Goes asked him, hey, who do you think's the Michael Jordan of MMA? He thought about it for a while because there's so many things Jordan did, and to apply it to MMA is difficult, you know what I mean? Because there's just so many different weight classes and eras. But finally, he said Demetrious Johnson ticks the most boxes. I mean, how cool is that? Two all-time greats saying kind things, about you. I mean, I got to imagine that feels pretty cool.
Yeah, first off, that was awesome that Henry Cejudo said that. I've never had anything bad to say about Henry. I think he's hilarious with the whole Triple C. You can't deny that man. Flyweight champion, bantamweight champion. Let me remind you, he's got a gold medal too. So yeah, I think him beating me was a big thing in his career, especially since he sees me as one of the greatest of all time. And for him to say it's awesome, I if he wants to start the next chapter in his life, have kids, and get married, and keep on, whatever follows that. That's fantastic. I do nothing but support him, and it's awesome that Daniel Cormier said the same thing. And I just started watching The Last Dance, and I was watching it last night, and seeing how of an athlete and how of a hard worker Michael Jordan was. Like, it made me regret something. And I don't regret a lot of things in my career. The one thing I do regret is being able to have somebody capture how hard I've worked since, my wrestling days, my cross country days, my track days, leading up to when I got into mixed martial arts at the very beginning. And even to this day, like, I don't have, cameras following me around my daily life. And when I see that for Michael Jordan, I'm like, damn. He's worked so hard, and I'm able to sit back and be able to watch that. When I look back on my career, I'll just be able to watch fights. I won't be able to actually watch myself grow, like how hard I worked during cross country, how hard I worked during track, running at the state competition in front of thousands of people. A guy who's 5'3" running a 16:10 3-mile. I would never be able to look back to see that hard work and that ethic be able to transfer over to mixed martial arts. That's the one thing I regret in my mixed martial arts career or my athletic career as a whole when I watched the Last Dance. So thank you to Henry Cejudo and Daniel Cormier for saying that. And that's the thing too, when I looked at The Last Dance, I'm watching, I'm like, is there going to be any type of controversy? Did he do any banned substance? Did he do anything bad to tarnish his career? I don't know. I'm on episode 1. But so far, I see that Michael Jordan, it's going to be a documentary based on how he was so focused and he made everybody around him and his team great. And I can't wait to finish it.
Yeah, so far what I can tell is he was very competitive. Maybe a little bit he bullied the guys, but only to get the best out of them, But you could tell when they were telling him that he was thinking he had to take a break. And I wonder if he was thinking, man, was I that big of a jerk? But regardless, that's maybe what made him great, is getting the most out of his guys. But he did gamble. I can't hate on that. I gamble on sports too. But, but yeah, if that's the worst thing he ever did, then yeah, I guess he's done pretty good for himself.
But I mean, you think about it. A man who's at the top of the world in his sport of basketball, not just in America, but in the whole world. And the only thing that we're going to blame this man for, and everybody has their faults, everybody does certain things or whatever, and it's gambling. I mean, that's a, he lives by what he says he is, which is a good person.
What about you, DJ? You got any of them vices? Gambling, losing? Is it just the video games, basically?
Well, I wouldn't say video game is a vice. A video game is a multi-billion-dollar industry to this day, and it's only growing more and more and more every single year. So for me, I don't gamble, I don't smoke, I do drink, alcohol every once in a blue moon. Other than that, that's about it. Yeah, that's it.
What do you drink? What's your favorite drink when you do drink?
I've been drinking whiskey lately since I've been on my low Macallan 18, 15, 12, and 21. So I just drink that straight.
Have you given McGregor's whiskey a try?
I have not.
Okay.
He hasn't sent me a bottle.
I'm still curious here because my wheels are turning on a couple follow-ups. That state championship for track and field, did you win when you ran the 16:10, or what place did you take?
No, I took 15th. That was cross country. I took 15th out of, I think it was 150 runners, I believe.
Okay, all right. And then you have streaks of 3, 4, 10, and 13. You were also the 2017 ESPY winner. Earlier, I mentioned the titles that you have. You have the Grand Prix Championship at 1. You have the UFC flyweight title that you had. You had 11 title defenses. All those stats I threw out. Which one's like the most you're proud of?
I would say 11 consistent title defenses, because I think any champion or any athlete, to be consistent with no hiccups whatsoever. When we hiccups, drug tests, outside of the competition, showing up, making weight, never, I've never had any hiccups. Like, I'll probably say I was probably the easiest athlete to deal with, and that was my goal. Even to this day with my coach, Matt Hume, I want him to look back on his career and be like, out of all the athletes I've ever had, Demetrious Johnson was the easiest one, because he always showed up. He always worked hard. He always knew what he needed to do to get in great condition. But it came to cutting weight. I remember fighting Benavidez. I had to cut 8.5 pounds that morning of weigh-ins. 8.5 pounds. 8.5 pounds. And I mean, your boys, I'm just stacked. I'm stacked. But my black ass jumped in that tub, and we cut that 8.5 pounds. We made it to the scale. We went out there and we knocked out Benavidez. I've never quit. I remember when I had to get surgery for my torn labrum against John Moraga, and I was working out. And Matt was like, "You already did that." I said, "Well, I can't do that, Matt." And he goes, "Why not?" And I was like, "Because it hurts." And he goes, "You need to get an MRI." And I was like, "I'm not backing out of this fight, Matt. I'm not backing out." Sure enough, my labrum was completely torn in different areas in the cloth, they said. And he was like, "You got to get surgery." I'm like, "Matt, let's just go. We can beat him." He goes, "It doesn't matter. You need to fix your body. It's for the long term." So I would say the 11 consistent title defenses, the consistency of just continue to go out there and defend my belt. That will always trump anything I think I've done in my mixed martial arts career.
I want to be respectful of your time. We've taken a lot of it. Are we still cool, or do you have to go?
You're good. You're good.
Okay, I got a couple more. It's been a while since we caught up, and this comes from a little kid in Las Vegas. I didn't get a name, but he wants to know. He says, "I got a question for Demetrious Mouse." He says, "Brandon feeds 17-second KO on April 28th at AM FC 16 Annihilation. What was that like, your first fight? It ended in 17 seconds. Do you remember anything? Do you have any cool stories from that first first professional event of your career?" And also, that wasn't a little kid that asked that. That was me. I always get a kick out of that story when you were at Extreme Couture for one championship and some little kid called you Demetrious Mouse. It was hilarious. I'm silly like that.
Yeah, I remember that competition. Went out there, and I remember I threw a jab inside 9 overhand right, and then technique was perfect, and the right hand just landed right on the chin and knocked him out. I remember our buddy Drew Brokenshire, he just fought, and I believe he won his fight, and he records all of our amateur professional fights. He ran in the back to get the camera, and then when he came out to start recording, the fight was already done. He goes, "Damn it, I missed it." So I haven't seen that fight, but I remember I was like, one inside 9 overhand right, and then it was money.
Wow. So if somebody has that footage, you'd love to have it. You'd love to see it.
Oh, 1000%, because then I can go back and critique it.
April 28th, 2000. There you have it, folks. It's called ACFX Annihilation on April 28th. So it was literally like just over 13 years ago from your first fight. And look at the career you've had, man. 33-1. I mentioned those streaks earlier. All those titles. You're a Grand Prix champ. You're going to be fighting soon for the ONE Championship flyweight title. That's awesome. And my last question is, if Fernandez, for whatever reason, is out of the picture, are you going to maybe try and become a champ over at ONE? Like, it's, that seems to be the theme with a lot of the fighters, including your old adversary, Henry Cejudo. Is that something that motivates you?
I would say I have to become a champion over the first, right? I have to be able to go out there and win the flyweight belt against Adrian Ramirez, which I don't believe is going to be easy at all. He's a big guy, very tough, very skilled. If I'm able to accomplish that, and then if Bibiano is like, hey, my brother, I'm done, he retires, and then there's an opportunity for me to go up there and fight for it, yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I don't have to cut any weight. I'll just walk into competition weighing 140 pounds, probably 138, and then, go from there.
It's been great catching up with you. We really appreciate the time, and stay safe, first of all. Your state was one of the ones that got hit hard early. So our best to you, your family, your friends, your teammates, all your people up in the Apple State. And of course, when the time comes, then we'd love to catch up with you, after your camp's over and you're getting ready to go out there and fight for another title. But in the meantime, like I say, stay healthy, and thanks again for the time today.
No worries. You guys stay healthy, and thank you. And look forward to hearing from you guys.